All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Adjustment, July 16th, 2024, 7 p.m. We call the meeting to order, and I'd like to welcome everyone. So I'd like to get a motion to approve the agenda, but subject to the removal of the minutes because we do need to redo those minutes. So, motion, Mr. Reynolds. Second. Phillips, second. All in favor? Aye. Got four. All right, on to new business. I'll turn it over to Stephen with that.
Good evening, Board of Adjustment. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I know it's been a while since we've met, so I do appreciate it, and it's good seeing everybody. Tonight we do have Board of Adjustment meeting July 16th, 2024. The town of Winterville has received a special use permit within an R8 zoning district for a piece of land just adjacent to Carroll Crossing. This will likely become Carroll Crossing Phase 3 if approved, and we'll get into that a little bit during this presentation. The applicant is O'Kane and Associates. The site is located on the northeast corner of Jeremy Lane and Church Street. This is adjacent to Carroll Crossing on Church Street Extension. I'll show you the site right here in a couple of minutes as well. It's a 3.83 acre site that is currently zoned R8 conditional district. The conditions that the applicant placed on it years ago is that all duplexes must have a brick facade. The proposed use on this site for the special use permit is a two-family subdivision, or a little bit more commonly known as duplex subdivision. They are requesting, again, a two-family subdivision within the R8 zoning district. The site that we are looking at is this site, again, just adjacent to Carroll Crossing. To the north, there is an existing daycare. And then to the west, you see a little bit more of industrial style uses in the Roberts Company, metal fabrication company. Just below it, you have Winterville's Operations Center as well. Again, this proposal is for a two-family development or a duplex neighborhood. Two-family residential is a special use within the R8 zoning district, thus requiring approval and review from the Board of Adjustment. This development is designed as a single-family attached development, meaning each unit will be on its own lot, requiring setbacks for its own lot, requiring off-street parking on their own lot. So again, this is going to be single-family attached. The difference between single-family attached and multifamily is multifamily sits on a single lot with multiple buildings on that lot, generally shared parking, things like that. And it's important because once we get into special requirement number 2, special requirement number 2 is actually an umbrella of special requirements for different uses. So it includes two-family residential, but it also includes single-family attached and multifamily developments as well. And you'll see why that matters right here in a second. And with that said, many of the requirements of special requirement number 2 are met in this development, but they are not applicable necessarily to some of the requirements. Again, we'll get into that. It sounds a little bit more confusing than it actually is. Again, we are looking at Church Street Extension on the northeastern corner of Jeremy Lane and Church Street. It's an R8 conditional district. As you see around it, there's a lot of R8 conditional district in this area with townhomes development in Carroll Crossing. Across the street, you have a significant amount of industrially zoned land. To the south, you have general business and agricultural residential. So a variety of uses in this location. Right here, we're looking at just an opus image of the site. Is parcel number 4819, located on the screen right here. This is a preliminary sketch or a concept plan of what this development could turn into. Of course, if this is approved tonight, everything will be reviewed by the technical review committee with a preliminary plat and construction drawings and final plat to ensure that it not only meets special requirement number 2, but all standards of the town of Winterville, and any vote that is for tonight if there are additional conditions as well. Two-family development is a special use within the R8 zoning district and has special requirement number 2. I wanted to show this screen just to show that there are other uses that have special requirement number 2 as well. Again, special requirement number 2 is somewhat of an umbrella special requirement for multiple uses. With that said, this proposal as presented does meet all of the requirements of special requirement number 2. And we're going to go into some of the details of special requirement number 2. Again, special requirement number 2 is an umbrella of two-family, single-family attached, and multifamily dwellings. So there are aspects of special requirement number 2 that are just for certain situations. Because of this, the applicant has designed this product to ensure that it is in accordance with special requirement number 2. So for instance, letter A of SR number 2 says, no single-family attached unit shall exceed 150 feet. Again, this is a duplex development. It will not exceed 150 feet. In fact, the lots that are presented do not exceed 150 feet, so they would not be able to achieve a unit that is 150 foot long. But again, that will be reviewed a second time at the preliminary plat, construction drawings, and final plat. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 under this are referring to multifamily developments. Again, their proposal is in adherence to all 3 of these, in that they are proposing a single-family attached product, so it is not a multi-family development at this site. So therefore, 1, 2, and 3 are not applicable to this development. Similarly, B is similar as well, in that if you're doing just one single individual two-family dwelling on an existing single-family lot, it says that it has to meet the area, yard, and height requirements of the district. Again, since they're proposing single-family attached, it will have to meet the yard, height, and area requirements of the district as well. Another thing within B, it states that a two-family dwelling in an existing neighborhood, in R8 neighborhood, shall be located on a corner lot. This is a full subdivision. It's not an individual two-family dwelling in this case. This letter B goes on to state that essentially the town cannot prevent people from creating condos or duplexes and subdividing so that you can have individual ownership, which this development is not proposing anything that would be of issue in that situation. Letter C, and again, please bear with me. I know I'm kind of going into the weeds on this, but letter C is looking at more than one two-family dwelling proposed to be constructed on one lot. Again, this is referring to multi-family development. We are looking here at single-family attached, so each unit is going to be on its own individual lot. Thus, the rest of these do not apply to this as well. So a site plan is going to have to be approved by Planning and Zoning Board regardless, because it will be a preliminary plat required for this. So even though this isn't a multifamily, they will still have to receive site plan approval from Planning and Zoning and Council. Same with density. Density is determined differently when you have lots, because you have to establish a lot of a certain size to create the density, whereas in multifamily you have one large lot, so you have to determine how many units can go on that lot. So 2 is not applicable to this situation, nor is 3. Again, they are going to have to put a unit on each individual lot and meet the side yard, front, rear, height setbacks, all of that. So this is not applicable, nor is street, sidewalks, storm drainage improvements, or sanitary containers. So all of this will be reviewed, but it will be reviewed under a single-family attached development, rather than this is specifically talking about multifamily. So to give you an example, sanitary containers are a great example. So typically, you know, with a single-family attached house, you could have rollout cans that go directly to the building, or you could have dumpsters in the area. With a multifamily development, you typically have dumpsters in certain locations of the development. So that's what this is referring to. So even though a lot of this proposed development doesn't necessarily, it aligns and it meets all of the requirements of special requirement number 2, although some of the requirements of special requirement number 2 are not necessarily geared for this type of development. Before I move forward, I know that was a lot. Does anybody have any questions before I move forward? Yes, sir.
Is there any provisions for maybe sidewalks?
So, yes, sir. Under a single-family subdivision, you have to have sidewalks on at least one side of every street. So there would be the requirement for sidewalks, and that will be reviewed during the preliminary plat stage. Yes, sir.
Or could this be incorporated with a walking area with a bicycle lane or something like that?
We have very specific design standards that they'll have to follow. For instance, on the inside of the newly proposed road, let's see. For instance, along this road, it would have to be a 5-foot wide sidewalk that meets the standards in depth and design that our design standards. Same will be true along Church Street Extension. There will be a required sidewalk along Church Street Extension to meet the design of Town of Winterville's design standards. Yes, sir. Any other questions before we move forward? Yes, sir.
This is basically very similar or almost identical, it looks like, to what we have in Carroll Crossing. The difference is each site would have 2 lots, but the buildings would be attached. Is that what we're saying? It
will actually be exactly like Carroll Crossing in every single way. Okay. In that you will have, yes, you'll have a duplex, and then the opportunity to put a property line right down between the duplexes with a firewall, so that each individual unit could be separately owned. Okay. Yes, sir.
That's what I was saying.
So it'll be, in all intents and purposes, it's the exact same proposal as Carroll Crossing. In fact, it should be a continuation of it, is what's being proposed.
Gotcha.
Any other questions before I move forward? So with all of that said, with them meeting special requirement number 2, planning staff believes that this request meets all development standards that are required to issue a special use permit upon proper findings of the board, obviously. If approved tonight, all standards and conditions will be reviewed again during the preliminary plat, construction drawings, and final plats, and reviewed to ensure compliance with all town standards, as well as special requirement number 2 and any restrictions or requirements that you guys place tonight. Now, I have presented all of my information. We do have the applicants here, and there may be some people within the public who would like to speak as well. If you have any other questions with me, certainly let me know, but I think we would be ready to open up the public hearing if the board, if it's a pleasure.
Open the hearing, public hearing. Mr. Phillips, Mr. Reynolds, number 2, all in favor? Aye. All right. Anyone who's wishing to speak for or against, we need to get you sworn in if we could, and then we'll open it up to the floor to begin with.
Gentlemen, right here we have the Bible. If all three of you are going to give testimony, that's great, but everybody, if you're going to speak, you need to, you each can come up if you'll put your right hand on the Bible and raise your left. Yeah, we can do it all one time. I mean, yeah, we can do it all jointly.
Yeah.
There we go. And there we go. Do you solemnly swear that the information tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You're all duly sworn. And if you just state your name when you.
Good evening. My name is Brian O'Kane. I work for O'Kane and Associates. I'm a civil engineer representing Mr. Eugene here, who's the landowner. First and foremost, just want to say thanks to Stephen. I work in a lot of different towns. I live and work over in Washington, but I work in a lot of different towns, and his level of detail and the attention that he pays to things, and the fact that he calls me back when I have questions, we really appreciate it. So thanks, Stephen. And just want to make myself available for questions. Like Stephen said, we're asking for the special use of the duplex 2-family units. The concept plan that we put together is kind of our best stab at getting a plan put together with staff over the last couple months, and it's going to be pretty much a mirror image of what you're seeing at Carroll Crossing and what you've seen across the street. And then we do actually have the zoning condition that requires the brick fronts, so we'll get that as well, and that's consistent throughout Carroll Crossing too. So just want to make myself available for questions. And if you really zoom in on that concept plan, we showed the sidewalk required down the street, but you would really need a microscope to see it. But there's sidewalk on Church Street and sidewalk on the new road. But available for any questions that you have, and appreciate your time.
And could I get, are you Mr. O'Kane?
Yes, sir.
Brian
O'Kane.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to speak? You don't have to.
I'm good.
Okay, all right, that's it. So,
Any questions?
Question? Go ahead, Mr.
Where is it exactly located at?
Where is this located?
Uh-huh.
You know where Roberts is?
Yeah, I know where Robert is.
And the daycare right there on the corner of Laurie Ellis and Church?
Go back to the site plan.
So,
Isn't that right, Laurie Ellis?
That's right. Roberts.
sure. Yeah, on Church Street.
This is where the church is.
Yeah, so
That's Roberts. You're coming out. Yeah. So it's right in front of that right here.
yeah, and it's kind of the last piece of vacant land. I mean, if you look around it, you've got Roberts to the west, and then all the stuff to the east and to the south. What you can't really see is off of Jeremy Lane to the south. There recently, I say in the last 5 years, probably, Stephen, there was more duplexes approved that have been built, that Clark built as well. And that's Clark Hazelton. He's the general contractor.
You know where the operations center is?
Yeah.
It's right there.
Okay.
Yeah, right across the street from the town's operations center.
Okay.
And it's, like I said, it's maybe 3.5 to 4 acres, kind of the last piece of land there.
It's behind that daycare center, right?
Right,
Okay.
right beside, yeah, right beside it.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right.
Any more questions? Anyone else like to speak for or against? All right. With that, I'll get a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Reynolds,
Second.
Phillips, close, all in favor? Aye. It's unanimous, closing the hearing. All right. Do you have a clean copy of this? Because mine come apart and, or if you just double check me.
Yeah, you want to take
On the
mine?
right page right here. You good? Okay, just make sure.
Yeah, we'll walk through it.
All right, I'll make sure. All
So
right.
can I just speak very briefly? Gentlemen, we've done stuff similar like this before. It's just been a while since we've gathered together. Sort of a two-step process tonight. The first thing we're going to do is walk through a series, what we lawyers call findings of fact. And it's going to be right there in front of you, and the chair will sort of read over it. But he'll be looking for a motion to either approve the finding of fact or deny it. We'll take a motion either way and then take the vote. Once we work through those series of findings of fact, If each finding of fact is approved, then at the back end, we'll vote to approve the special use permit. So it's sort of a package deal. I'm here to answer any questions you have of me. Anything else, Stephen, that I've sort of overlooked? No?
I think that's got it. Yes, sir.
So just to kick it off, and I think each of you probably have this document in front of you. It's the order approving the special use permit.
Have to step back a little bit.
At the very last 3 pages is the draft of the order.
Go to the back right here. Yeah. You got it, Mr. Ryan. Back of it. Go from the back, coming up. Back. Yeah, on that way. Right there.
Special use permit?
Yes.
Okay.
Right here, starting right here. So this is the fun part. This will probably take longer than the whole meeting. All right.
So again, and the chair, if you'll start with number 1.
Yep.
And he'll read number 1, which is conditions and specifications. And he's going to look for a motion to approve what he's getting ready to read or to deny.
All right. So we'll start with conditions and specifications. First of all, we'll start with having heard all the evidence and arguments presented at the public hearing, the Board of Adjustment makes the following findings of fact. Conditions and specifications, that the application filed as a special use permit for parcel 04819 meets all the required conditions and specifications of zoning ordinance and policies of the town for a submission of a special use permit. Take a motion to approve. Mr. Reynolds? Mr. Phillips, all in favor? Aye, that's 100%. Number 2, notice that those persons owning property adjacent to the proposed development or use as listed on the current tax records were served notice of the public hearing by mail in accordance with applicable requirements, and the notice of the public hearing to consider the special use permit was published on July 5th, 2024, and July 10th, 2024 in the Daily Reflector, a newspaper having general circulation in that area and required by law. Get a motion to approve. Mr. Reynolds? Mr. Phillips, seconded. All in favor? Aye. Got 100% approved. Now this next one's going to have several different items here. So Section 3, to hear and decide in particular cases and subject to appropriate conditions and safeguards, permits for special use as authorized by article and granting a special use permit, the board shall make the following affirmative findings. So we'll vote individually on these A, B, and C, and then we'll move on. So first of all, the use requested is among those listed as an eligible special use in the district which is the subject property is located. Mr. Phillips?
That's a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Yeah. You only need one, you don't need a all in? Or motion to approve, we just need to get all, yeah, so I need a second.
Yes, there you
Need
go.
a second to approve. Mr. Phillips, so we got Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Phillips, all in favor? All right. B, that the special use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as proposed. Get a motion. Mr. Phillips, Mr. Reynolds, second, all in favor? All right.
Now, Mr. Chair, I want to help you now.
All right.
Because under number C, and he'll read it, but it says that the special use meets all required conditions and specifications. And then it goes on for about 2 pages. That's the exact same information that Stephen just went through and read through it. Now, if the board wants to read through it again, you have every right to do so. But if you're comfortable with what Mr. Penn read, then under C, you would take a motion either to approve or deny that the special use meets all those required conditions and specifications.
All right, so I'll read the first part, that the special use meets all required conditions and specifications delivered by the town. Can I get a motion to approve? Mr. Phillips, Mr. Reynolds, all in favor? Approved.
Now could I'm sorry, now I'm gonna deviate for 1 second. Stephen, you and I talked today, now that they have voted that it does meet the requirements of SR2, but because of the unusual nature, different nature, you want to have we talked about maybe having a motion that the subdivision, that those requirements aren't applicable to the subdivision, or would you rather just stay where we are?
I think I'd rather just stay just because it does meet all of the requirements theoretically as required, so I'd rather, if that's okay.
And I apologize, that was sort of spin off a conversation Steve and I had earlier today, so disregard that. I think you're going to page 3D.
So, so we don't need to vote on C?
I thought you did. Didn't y'all vote on
No, we did not do C, an individual family building, but that's what he was.
an individual?
So that's it, special requirement
We did
number.
on C, but then there's another C. so it might have
Yeah,
been a
special
plan.
requirement number 2 is so tricky that it goes A, B, C, D, and then it does a subsection of A, B, C, D and stuff. So
Okay.
that C that you
Oh, I
were just
got you.
referring, yeah, it's actually a subsection of
That's
the.
part of
C-
SR2.
Okay, so now it would be just the overall special permit, right?
So now we're moving to the special use will not substantially injure.
Yep, gotcha. I'm with you. I'm with you right now. That's what I was questioning. Yes, sir. All right, so, apologies. Finally, that the special use will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that this use is a public necessity. A motion, Mr. Phillips, Mr. Reynolds, all in favor? All right, approved. And then finally, E, that the location and the character of the special use, if developed according to the plan as proposed, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of the development of the town and its environs. Mr. Reynolds? Sorry, and I apologize. Devin. All in favor? All right.
And so
That was Mr. Johnson, by the way, Devin Johnson.
That therefore completes the findings of fact. You've now found that the application meets all the findings of fact for the special use permit, so we have the ultimate motion to approve the application.
So we get a motion to approve the application. Mr. Phillips? Mr. Reynolds? All in favor? Aye. All right, motion approved, unanimous. Okay.
Very good.
All right, anything else do we have for the staff, from the staff, Stephen?
That's it right now. We're moving along fairly well with development in town. Still a lot of kind of residential coming our way. A lot of single-family residential essentially right now. But yeah, moving along. If anybody has any specific questions, certainly let me know. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back and do those meetings, or those minutes at a different meeting. I missed a couple of, I had a couple of mistakes on the minutes, and, so Keen did a great job of reviewing them and found them, so, we'll have to bring those back, but, and we'll have some others as well. But I hope you all have a great month, and, if there's ever anything I can do, just let me know. And I will say too, if I can introduce our new economic development planner, Tristan Daltrey. She joined us at the beginning of the month, and really excited to have her on board with us. She's a great asset to the town.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you for your time. Get a motion to adjourn. Mr. Reynolds, second. Mr. Phillips, all in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Yep.
Nice job, guys. I wish to see.